Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. This is a clip from a recent live event where myself and Darkstar, aka Patty, are going to discuss the growing amount of time and attention required to enjoy and maximize what you get out of blockchain-based video games. The number of games are growing, the complexity of each game is growing, and it's just more and more time as well as investment value that's required to maximize what you can do here. Splinter Forge is where the conversation starts as we hear a story about somebody extracting significant rewards from this amazing, well, I think it's amazing blockchain game. But then there's more to it, like Golem Overlord or Land 1.5, or there's a growing boss fights are coming to Splinterlands. Like it's like this growing complexity, and you're going to need to put more and more value in, but also time and attention in. And at some point you can't do it all. I love where we're at. I love where we're aiming. I'm excited by this, but yeah, even now it's hard to do it all, isn't it? And we're going to talk about that in this video. So if that sounds interesting, stick around and stay tuned. Have an amazing day. And be sure to check out Splinter Coach. Splinter Coach is a website that will track your battle history within Splinterlands and allow you to better understand how you're winning and why you're losing. And that will be entertaining, but also functionally useful as it helps you better win more often and therefore extract more reward for the same amount of time and attention. So check out splintercoach.com for a free 7-day trial. Thanks, guys. Have an amazing day. God bless. I saw a great comment that I've never heard anything like this before. I've been enjoying Splinter Forge, but Gathering said I had a person on Aftersounds chat yesterday say he earns 70,000 DEC a week playing 2 accounts in Splinter Forge. I need to concentrate more on leveling my Splinter Forge accounts. I've been enjoying it, and I'm getting like tens of thousands of Forgium with like relative. I think I maybe put in $100 into the game, and I have fun with it. I do it when it's in the background. Like it's not as fun for me as Splinterlands is, but I do like it, and I am trying, and I am playing it most days, and it takes probably a good hour, but I'll play it like while I'm listening to a YouTube video. And 70,000 DC a week, man, that's juicy. That makes me I'm gonna like start. I wish there was ways for me to optimize, because you can't copy paste what other people are doing because you can't see their battles exactly. So yeah, Gathering, we got to do another video sometime soon, talk more about that. You're not touching that stuff, are you, Patty?
I created an account and I started it, and I've not done anything with it since. I think it's another thing I'd quite like to have a look at it, but it's so time consuming just in Splinterlands in general.
Yes.
I do Golem Overlord just because I find it entertaining. I don't expect to really make much money from it, but it's so light touch, and I can just hop in 3 times a day, claim some part, burn it somewhere else, and then log off it again, leave it alone. Whereas I know with Splinter Forge it'll be another quite a serious time sink if I try and look into it.
Yes.
So I'm trying to force myself not to, even if it might be beneficial.
It's more time consuming than Splinterlands for sure, but
yeah,
but there's more and more time consumption that's coming out of all of this. Like as days, weeks, months go by, like even land is going to be super. The 1.5 land is going to be complicated, and then there's going to be a growth. The boss fights are I don't think just rumored. I think they're pretty much like that's the next thing after 1.5, based on Farpatrod's text or tweet or Discord chat. I forget where it came from, but Farpatrod, did you hear about this, Patty? He came out and said the next thing we're working on, focusing all out on after Land 1.5 is, and then he said, I'll give you a hint. It begins with a B and ends in an S. And Gold Matters from Splinterlands, who's like a real great follow on Twitter, said boss fights, and I was like, this, like in my mind, that's what it could be. Something else starts with a B, ends in an S, but I think, and he said also it was something we've wanted for a long time, and I forget the exact hint, but it does seem to jive with boss fights. So my point is, like, there's just more and more and more and more things you can do that are going to take up more and more and more of your time, and I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, boss fights, that's cool. I've been to see whether it's kind of a PvE. At some point, it has to be more of a kind of a solo thing, doesn't there? A PvE, but I imagine it wouldn't be that. I imagine it would be a bit like a lot of the other kind of things where you'd go online, you'd all work together as a guild or as a to kind of defeat a boss. So you'd all send cards and do damage, which again would be probably more like Splinter Forge potentially.
Yeah,
they might have taken inspiration from that. I know they're keeping an eye on Go, aren't they, to see if there's any Golem Overlord, to see if there's any bits they can learn from,
Mhm.
which is good. It's good that kind of I think everybody in the space is happy to kind of take what's good from other areas and either improve on it or tweak it themselves. Because I
Mhm.
think it betters everyone, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting, man. Like there is more and more expectation to contribute more and more of your time as well as money to grow what you're doing in this space. And there are, I think, increasingly it's getting to a place for me where it's like I can't do it all. Like I used to say this about buying. I can't buy every card. But now I'm starting to feel like I can't do it all in the context of I can't play all I want. I can't play the tournaments. I can't in Splinterlands. I can't do, but I am doing a lot. I'm probably doing more than I ever have in this space. Splinterlands daily, Golem Overlord daily. I'm up my prestige. I'm up to level 12 and 15, 12 of 15. I am. I don't know. I'm not sure how to like summarize. I'm up to 3,300 like rating or whatever.
it's about the
Um,
same as me actually. Is that I think I'm on about around the same rating.
so like and yeah, like people slag this thing, but I feel this reminds me of SimCity. I grew up loving SimCity. SimCity I would play for like weeks, and you build a city and you get $10,000 to start, and you build your like 2 or 3 residences and one police building and one commercial building, one industrial, one power plant, and that's all you can afford. And then you charge X amount of taxes and you have to wait. I would literally leave my Super Nintendo on and walk away from it for 24 hours, go to school and all that stuff, come home and check and see how much tax money revenue had come in while I was away, because that would then be my next like check-in. It'd be my next like claim, because okay, after 8 hours I've earned X tax revenue, and I go in here. That's this experience right here. Like I click on claim and I get more part, and I can say, well, what's the next move for me? Do I want to get more scavenge golems? Do I need more power? Do I need more fortification? Um, and so I think this is neat. I think this is way better than some people make out, even though I admit there's no like user interface where my little guy is moving on the screen. But that's not the end of the world for me. And I think if that's the end of the world for someone, like if the graphical interface isn't good enough and that'll push you away, I think Splinterlands is still in that conversation too. I mean, this is good. It looks good. It doesn't look amazing. That's not a barrier for me. And for those it's a barrier for, they're going to go look after, the Call of Duties and the Battlefields or whatever. And they're not our audience. And
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
No, I mean, I don't think it really. SimCity is not something it reminded me of, but it does remind me of games I used to play probably back in early 2000. Basically, just web browser based games, and there were those kind of idle games. But there was obviously no crypto then. There was no crypto element, so there was no earning. You just basically logged in, and time ticked down, and then you built and upgraded people or planets or whatever the individual game was, and then you just kept expanding.